So when you're coming off a game like the other night, obviously you want the guys to have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, but also not worry about it so much that it gets them off their game moving forward, I would think.
Well, the biggest thing for a game tonight is on character. We just made so many misreads in our end zone, which has really been a staple for us most of the year. Last two games, we've lost ourselves in our coverages, in our structure. So we need to play better in front of our goalie, and everything works off of that. So that's I'm not worried about the attitude. The attitude's going to be fine. But just to make sure we have the proper structure against a much better offensive team in the Rangers.
Do you think it's just frustration maybe seeping in, why guys are maybe trying to do too much in the defensive zone, losing that structure?
Yeah, I don't think it's frustration. I think because we have, like I said, we have a really good group. I think they're trying so hard that we're kind of just not seeing things. I think when you try so hard, you don't let the game come to you. I think the biggest point for us is to let the game come to us, but have the proper intensity to find a way to get 2 points. And as a group, we need to play a hard game, but also a consistent game with structure. I think when you start thinking about wanting to make a difference, you lose some of your structure. We need to have a blend there. And when you're playing these types of games, that's a really important thing.
Is that because they're basically trying to do too much individually and not as a cohesive five-man unit?
Yeah, we've won this year as a team. That's the way we go about it. I think certain individuals have hurt their game because they're trying to do too much and trying to take too much on. I can see it happening through our lineup, and that's what happens. You find out how guys handle these type of situations. I think we need to have a calm intensity about ourselves tonight. Structure is so important right now because we've lost it. We've lost. I don't know what it is. I think we could have won some other games. I thought our structure was really good, and I thought we were the better teams in some of the games we lost. But now you couple up with these last two games where we lost ourselves completely in structure. We got to get back to that here tonight to give ourselves a chance.
Who is your starting goalie tonight?
Earth.
John, we've talked about, this time of year when a losing streak builds, players feel pressure, but I'm sure coaches feel pressure too when you see that number grow. Have you felt pressure, and does it ever weigh on you at this time of year?
Well, I think coaches were always worried about how the team's going to play. I just want them to succeed. I want them to get back in a win column to make this interesting. With 2 games left, that's what I'm frustrated for them. Coaches are always worried about what's going on with their team, and are we doing things the proper way? Are they getting the right message? Obviously, after the 7 games of what we thought was going to be the really hard part, my message, we just have not been consistent. So I worry about my message to them, and that's been a concern of mine here for a couple of weeks now. And making sure we're giving them the right information. Are we giving them too much? Or is it not enough? How's the approach? All that. So that's a major concern of mine. And obviously, we haven't gotten to the right message, or the time of the message, or whatever it may be, and help us try to win these games.
How much more difficult has it been to get the structure back with a lot of moving parts on D and guys kind of coming in and out?
Yeah, that affects it. That affects it, and that affects it. And and it's not blaming, but we've had struggles in goal, and people try to overcompensate sometimes too, and that takes you out of position, and it just changes the whole dynamic. I think from the goalie on out, we need to be more cohesive. I don't think we've played well in front of the goalies the past couple of games. I think we've had some struggles in goal, in the consistency there the last little bit. And it just kind of turns things upside down. We got to figure that out. We're a smart enough team, and that's my job, is to try to calm this down here into structure with intensity, and it gives us the best chance to try to find a result.
Kind of speaking to the defense and about the fact that it's kind of a lot of moving parts right now. That the Sealer Drysdale pairing, that's a pairing that kind of conceptually seems to make sense, and maybe it's a pair that the rest of this year, even next year, could be a fit. But they obviously had a really rough game in Montreal. Does that give you pause as to whether those two guys might not be able to work together long term, or is that just an aberration for you?
I don't even think long term. I'm thinking tonight. We'll probably they'll probably start the game together, but we got to watch that. I think you got to be really careful when you look at a -6, and that's a really. Never been a big plus-minus stat guy because I think so many things happen when pucks go in the net. But we have concerns there and where it went the other night. I think it's been chipped down a little bit the past couple of games. We have thoughts about what plan will be as far as pairs are concerned if we have to move them around, and we'll see. I think it starts. I think it starts with our top pair. I think our top pair in Sandy and Yorkie have to lead the way. And I don't think they led the way the other night either. You can pick on that one pair. I don't think anybody was good as far as those pairs were concerned. We need that top pair, and this is where Yorkie is really. Oh, it's Brian. Excuse me. Where Yorkie has to take more responsibility because he's turned into a stud as a player, and. But we need him now. We're out of time, right? This is it. This can extend it, or you're pretty much done. So we're out of time. So I just want to see who can step up and try to lead the way.
To that point, it's hard not to ask it. When you're in this building, talking about you and Pierre Laviolette, 2010, it came down to the last game of the season. Are there any similar feelings this year with it coming down to possibly the last game of the season to win and get into the playoffs?
Not a chance. I don't even think about Peter. I don't even think about the Rangers. I'm thinking about our team.
Well, I meant as far as just getting to the last game down to the wire. It's going to be.
No, that was a whole different game because you win, you get in. We win, we don't get in. It just gives us another life, another day of life. This is totally different than that. I remember that. I remember the shootout and all that went with it. And this is apples and oranges as far as I'm concerned.
When you talk about.
I was going to say yes.
You can have one too, John.
I was going to say a lot of times over your time here, you've talked about not talking through the athlete, but talking to them. How much are you trying to emphasize that of not beating them up too much and trying to just work with them here?
There's no sense of beating them up. There are certain times in the season when you're trying to get guys going and trying to figure out who they are and where their game's at. Not now. We have to do this together. And I mean, I'm still going to ask for more. We need to ask for more out of our athletes based on the last game, right? We're asking for more, but we're asking in a manner, we need to do this together. That includes the coaching staff. And had a really good morning meeting to start this off today. We'll have our 6 o'clock, 5:30 and 6 o'clock meeting tonight, and we'll see where we go.
It kind of plays off of that a little bit. You talked earlier in the season about how you've had to change your approach a little bit over the years with today's athletes and how they're very short attention spans and everything. Have you had to change how you deliver your message now in terms maybe the message you would give at this time of year when something like this is going on 10 years ago, have to change how you do it now?
It's always reading the room. It's game to game. It's not 10 years from now to now. It's in such short spurts, and I think that's a big part of coaching is understanding where your room's at, and so that's constantly going on in my head and all other head coaches, all assistant coaches too, how we approach our team. I think it's a big part of coaching is understanding where your team is with their mindset and acting accordingly. It's easy for us to pound our chest and feel good we gave it to them, but did it help the team? Sometimes you do have to give it to them because you think that's going to help the team. Other times you need to find other different avenues. You guys don't think we do that, or you don't think I do that, but we're always trying to figure that out to try to help our team.